I'm super excited to partner up with the Sidwell Summer Equity and Justice Institute this summer to offer two different workshops. My very first workshop focuses on helping high school students discover who they are, their unfair advantage, their core values, their superpowers, and their weaknesses. My second workshop helps those young people learn how to leverage their self-awareness and how to leverage their understanding of their own voice to make a difference, specifically through podcasting. So in order for me to best serve my workshop students, I have carefully selected a group of student leaders who join me at those two different workshops and share with us their leadership experiences with my workshop students. So today I'm super honored and I'm super excited to interview Ava Yu as one of our featured student leaders. So hey, Ava, thank you so much for joining me for an interview. Really excited for today's spotlight interview.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, of course. So first of all, I know my introduction is very short, so please tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what do you do?
Sure. So my name is Ava, and I'm currently a sophomore at Stanford Online High School. Most of my academic and extracurricular endeavors focuses on finance, investment, and business as a whole, as well as exploring international relations. Outside of school, I like running, I like going to the gym and powerlifting, so a lot of keeping active, and as well as exploring art museums in the city because I live so close to Manhattan.
Yeah, you're a power lady. I love that. So as you mentioned, you have such a passion for finance and investment, which is really fascinating because I feel like financial literacy is something that school doesn't really cover a lot. And when I was a student, I really learned nothing about financial literacy, even though I took a number of business classes. So I'm
Mhm.
curious, what inspired you to become so passionate about finance investment?
Yeah, so my dad, he works at one of the largest financial institutions in the world. And so his sort of background within that was what initially sparked my passion because he would come back and talk a lot about it. And I was always curious as to, what exactly did he do? Because I know that for a lot of children, when you think of a portfolio manager, that isn't as straightforward as a doctor per se. But the current passion that I have for it actually relates to some of what you said in regards to the lack of financial literacy classes in public schools or schools as a whole. Because I realized that, when I am talking to all my friends about managing money, about future money endeavors, there's no such sort of education or foundation that they've developed for that. And so I thought that this sort of lack was somewhere that I could possibly target and develop my sort of niche. And over time, I think after exploring finance and investment a little bit more, I realized how in depth you can go and the wide variety of different subjects and niches within finance and investment and business as a whole you could explore. And so I think that sort of diversity is was also what drew me in.
I love that. Thank you so much for that great answer. And I feel really lucky for the future generation who can take advantage of this type of financial literacy program and support. So, like following up on this conversation, and I know you attend the online school, which my oldest son also attends Stanford Online High School, and you shared that with me before this interview that you are leading an investment club at this university and you have 120 plus kids under your leadership guidance. So that is really incredible. So tell us a little bit about the club. Did you create the club? What inspired you to create the club? And what do you enjoy the most about leading the club?
Yeah, so the club originally was created by one of my very close friends. His name is Caden, and he's currently at UC Berkeley. When I was in seventh grade is when he actually created the club, and so
Mm.
at that point, because our school doesn't allow seventh graders to actually lead clubs, I couldn't necessarily take a leadership position, but I was always involved. And so in ninth grade, I started, really coordinating with the club a lot more because, I've become a high schooler and I could take some sort of position on the board. And in my sophomore year is when I got promoted to co-president of the OHS Investment Club, and when I really started, influencing a lot of the decisions and our development. And so currently, the OHS Investment Club does two main things. First, it's a lot of education, so educating students about finance, investment, and business as a whole. We don't really limit it, but we call it the investment club just because a lot of the competitions, which is the second branch of our club, are focused in investments. And so we've attended the Wharton Investment Club, We've attended some personal finance competitions, the National Personal Finance Competition. We've attended the National Economics Competition and a couple of other economics Olympiads as well. And so these sort of two branches are, I think, are our main endeavors within the club. And in terms of, my overall leadership and what I enjoy about leading the club, I would say the main thing is just seeing students grow
Mm.
from, not really knowing anything about investment and how to manage money to actually being able to accomplish a lot of things within these competitions. Most recently, in this past school year, we've had three teams actually qualify for both the National Economics Challenge and also the National Personal Finance Challenge at the state level, which means that they placed top 10 out of 300 plus teams in all of California. And so we're really proud of that, as well as some other competitions that students have accomplished and we're waiting for results on. So I think just seeing this sort of growth that students have been able to achieve
Mm.
through what we've taught in the club and all of the activities that we've done in the club has been the main thing that I enjoy the most.
Congratulations. That is
Thank you.
incredible. I know,
Thank you.
I work with students. That's sense of pride, right? When you see your own, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited for you. Yeah. So I'm sure it is not easy to manage or run a team this big, especially, competition can be
Mhm.
very stressful. So share with us, what are some of your top challenges that you have to overcome in order to achieve this level of success?
Mhm. I think the main thing is that finance and investment, a lot of the topics within it tend to be very exclusive. I know that when I first initially started researching and finding good quality research, that was the most difficult part because a lot of the material cannot be shared with the public, obviously. And that goes the same when I was talking to my dad about a lot of his experience. A lot of it he couldn't share just because of confidentiality rules. And so I think the main thing that we had to figure out with the club is how to make it as inclusive as possible for students both in high school and also in middle school that want to explore investment, finance, and business. And so with that, we've been able to actually explore inviting recent guest speakers into our club to provide presentations to the students and just and introduce them about their careers, their endeavors, and whatever they have done in order to provide some insight and help promote this sort of inclusivity in our club. Additionally, I think within this sort of inclusivity, we want to make sure that the content that we teach and the programs that we host and that we have are going to be beneficial for all students. And I think that was also one of our main challenges is because there's sort of this wide variety of students at OHS spanning from 7th grade to 12th grade. We just had to make sure that our club's content was fit for all of them or fit for the majority of them. And so that was another one of our challenges. But I think so far we've been able to handle it in the sense that we've split up into groups before, we've done specific presentation and niches, and we also often take surveys of the club and have members give us their feedback every semester or even every couple of months, just so that we ensure that our club is as inclusive as possible and as educational as possible.
I love that. That is incredible. I think that's a great way when you have the mixed range of people's ages, like kind of team learning, group learning. I love that. So I can already tell you are such an excellent communicator, speaker, and really good at relationship building. So what are some specific skills that you have developed as a result of leading the club?
Yeah, so just like you said, I think one of the most important things for me, even outside of the club, but just in general, in any of my activities, is just being able to communicate well. I know that I used to do debate, and so this was something that was instilled in me by a lot of my debate coaches, by my parents, and also by the people that I met that were very successful. And so I think that was one of the main skills is just how to communicate better to specific groups of people. Because obviously the way that I communicate to a teacher per se is going to be different from communicating to a group of middle schoolers that have no idea what investing is. And so just having that sort of adaptability is something that I think the club has taught me to develop. And aside from that, obviously leadership, but leadership in a sense that it's not necessarily bossing people around, but more so how to include everyone and how to ensure that different opinions are taken into account. Because something that I noticed from a lot of the very successful, admirable leaders that I have researched or I've followed have that sort of skill in which they can capture different aspects and different requirements of different groups of people. And so I think the club has also taught me how to do that very well.
Mm, that is so impressive, and I can really tell the difference. So, kind of changing subject here. I know that you are also doing some work in AI, and I also know that actually yesterday I had a conversation with my kid. He also attends an in-person school, so I had a chance to have a conversation with the in-person school leader, and we're talking about AI. So I'm curious because I know many schools are not talking a lot about AI.
Mhm.
So, given what you know about AI and the work you are doing right now in AI, what do you think about AI? Like, how do you incorporate AI into your, if at all, your day-to-day life?
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think AI right now is the main phase. It's the main thing that everyone is talking about. And I think with AI, there comes a lot of concerns, but also benefits from it. Within my own activities and what I'm doing, the main thing that I'm focusing on using AI is actually developing a startup with one of my friends. We've developed this platform called Final AI, and essentially it uses AI to adapt academic competition and exam prep materials for the students. So we have the AI essentially generate problems and ensure that the structure and the overall problems that it gives to the students are adaptable and fit for the students. And I think that's something that AI has helped me in is just ensuring that the education that we promote is as adaptable and as successful as possible. Both me and my friend who are working with this within this project are very, very passionate about education and making sure that it's as accessible as possible and also as efficient as possible. Because I've noticed in the past, even at a lot of great schools, there tend to be some sort of inefficiencies. And so I think AI can definitely help with the efficiency aspect of things. And even, outside of this project that me and my friends are working on, we also have used AI to help with a lot of our research. Some preliminary research has been very, very helpful. And just speeding up the overall process for us because, again, when we're managing this many people or have this many projects, the main difficulty is how to ensure that we're not missing anything. And I think AI has helped me in that endeavor as well. Some potential concerns that I would say people have to be wary of is that AI is, at least at this stage, tends to be more of a tool rather than a full-on replacement. And I think the best skill that people can adapt nowadays is how to be adaptable to any new changes that come with the development of AI, especially in your own work. So how to make sure that your work is valuable to other people and how to make sure that you can use AI and incorporate AI well into your own work so that again you stay relevant within these new developments. And so that's something else that I think is incredibly important, as these developments continue, and also, as us students, when we're utilizing these tools, we should think about and we should consider and potentially help innovate further.
I love that. I think now as I'm listening to you, you are doing a lot. I have a kind of additional question. I didn't send it to you. How do you
Mhm.
balance everything? Like it is a lot, right? You attend a pretty competitive, very robust online school, and you are doing
Mhm.
so much. And earlier you're organizing an exchange program. So share with us how do you balance everything, time management, or you don't sleep a lot? What's your secret?
Well, I think my sleep has definitely gone down these past couple months, but I would probably attribute that more so to finals and stuff and also AP exams. But aside from that, I think obviously with AI, I've realized I've actually been able to become more efficient, especially amongst the more, I guess, mind-numbing work that I've done. Um, and I would just say I try to make sure that whatever I have to do is on my calendar. I have a very organized color-coded calendar just because I tend to forget things if it's not on my calendar. And so that's another thing that I think has helped me a lot is just having an organized schedule every single day of blocking out hours and knowing what you have to do for that specific hour. Because then for me, it's a lot easier to balance that way.
I love that. Yes, this is something I share with my own students because our brain has only a certain amount of capacity, and we really
Yeah.
want to save our brain energy to devote to the most important tasks and like use systems to buy back your time. So I love it. I also have a color-coded calendar. I also, on top of that, I have a physical calendar. So I use double both to make sure I don't forget anything. So my brain doesn't have to remember anything, only need to do the work. Oh, you have a cat. I have a cat too.
Yeah, my cat is here. He he somehow opened the door, and so he's behind me now.
That's good. So I love that. I love cats. Yeah. So finally, and I can see that you are absolutely such an incredible leader. You are doing so much more than when I was at your age. I feel like that's this generation. Every time I interview a young person, I'm like, wow, you're doing so much more than when I was your age. That's exactly how I feel about you. So share with us. I know you're about to start your junior year. So what's your vision? Do you have a dream school? Like, where do you see yourself? Or are you going to take a gap year? Are you going to college? Like, I see the entrepreneur inside you. So share with us, what is your vision for yourself?
Yeah, so right now, I think after my finals in my sophomore year, I plan on taking this summer to primarily work on this startup that me and my friends are developing. That's my number one project. Obviously, a lot of other academic endeavors, taking the SAT. But overall, at least for the extension of my high school, I want to really hone in on my EdTech startup with my friends. Hopefully, we'll be able to expand it, and we want to have this sort of expansion, not limit it to only the States. We realize that, especially in China, there's a lot of lack of resources just because of the firewall and also just communication differences. And so we want to expand our platform to there as well. In terms of college, I guess I would say I want to stay in New York. I really love the city. I love how
No.
busy it is all the time and how there's so many things to do. And so hopefully I can get into a pretty good university somewhere in the city. My dream school right now is probably NYU Stern, just because I personally like the fact that there's no campus. It gives me a lot more freedom. Because again, I personally, as much as I love to learn, I think the sort of structured learning of traditional schools isn't necessarily as appealing to me, just because, I've been doing an online program for so long. And so having that sort of freedom is one of my goals in life. And hopefully, after college, I can explore the world a little bit. I definitely want to go back to Asia, perhaps explore some opportunities in Hong Kong or Singapore as well, because I love Singapore and I also love Hong Kong. And just honestly, I like working for myself. So continuing developing different startups with my friends. We have a lot of projects on the back burner that we're hoping on working on in the summer as well. And if we have time in the rest of our high school years, but just developing those things and also traveling a lot because I love traveling.
I love that. That sounds like an exciting dream life. I love that. I have one more question. I'm like, as a coach, I'm really good at hearing patterns. So I definitely hear a pattern in the stories you shared with me, which is that you are really good at identifying talent and building your own team, building your own group, managing relationships. Just like here, my friend are doing this, my friend, my friend. So share with us. I think lots of young people have this desire, like, oh, I want to start something, but nobody in my immediate circle is really passionate about this. Like my son yesterday actually complained, oh, I'm interested in this, but I don't know anyone who is interested in this. So share with us, how were you able to identify pockets of people or maybe the same group to engage in such collaborative endeavors with you to make a difference? That is just fascinating.
hmm I think initially it was really difficult for me, especially when I was originally at a public school, because again, there's not a collective motivation within the
Mm,
student community to do something that big. And I love the people that are at public school. I have a lot of great friends there, but it's the sort of drive difference that I think sets us apart from the people that I met at OHS. Within OHS, obviously, there's also people that don't align with your goals and aren't willing to dedicate that much time. And so for me, I think it's number one, just putting yourself out there. People don't really know about your goals and your hope for accomplishing XYZ unless you're the one that goes out there and says it yourself. And
mm.
so for me, when I joined OHS originally, I would just text a lot of people. I was introduced to a lot of people thanks to a very, very great friend, who I've stayed in contact with. And she's been able to help me explore the entire OHS student body and develop relationships with them. And I think aside from that, it's just doing your research. I have a LinkedIn and I don't use it that often just because I know it's a little weird just to see a bunch of high schoolers on there especially for my dad when he tells me his colleagues see my LinkedIn, it's a little weird. But at the same time, I think you can find talent on LinkedIn. It's just taking the time to do so. And so for me, keeping these relationships and building up this network is just time consuming, but I think it's the time that you invest into it and the results that I get back from that investment that makes it very, very worth it.
Well, I love it. It's definitely paying off. What do they say? Your network is your
Mhm.
net worth, right? So I love
Yes.
that. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So it seems like when you were sharing that, I wrote down super who. I think in every business, every goal we achieve, we all need a few super who's. They're not just
Yeah.
like a person, but like a super who. So it seems like you have a few super who's in your life. I'm
Mhm.
really happy for you. So yes,
Thank you.
so this is fascinating, but this is incredible. So I'm really excited and honored. Now I know more about what you do to really have you share your incredible life experiences and leadership experiences with other high school students attending the two summer workshops. So I love it. And so anyway, if you're interested in having your kid learn from someone as incredible as Ava in terms of relationship, startup, entrepreneurship, finance, competition, please definitely use the link below to register for my two summer workshops at Sidwell and also check out other workshops available. So thank you so much for your time, Ava. Any last minute message before we say goodbye?
No, I'm really glad, and I appreciate you for inviting me here today to do this interview. And obviously, I look forward to meeting your students at these camps and in these workshops. And I hope this provides some help to parents or students that are looking and exploring into these different subjects. And yeah, I'm really grateful to be given this opportunity.
Thank you so much.